Hello and welcome to another heart-to-heart conversations on Self-Talk Show. I'm your host Mitali Ohri, and today we are diving into a topic that affects millions of lives worldwide, and that is post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. PTSD is not just a term, it's a reality for many. PTSD is a mental health condition that can develop after a person has been exposed to a traumatic event. It's important to shed light on this topic, educate ourselves, and support those who may be struggling with PTSD. But before we begin, a quick reminder to the listeners that the information provided in this podcast are general in nature and should not replace professional advice. Seeking professional help is essential for anyone dealing with mental health challenges. Now let's peel back the layers and understand what PTSD is. PTSD isn't just a bunch of letters. It's a mental health disorder that can show up after someone's been through a trauma. Anything from combat to abuse, accidents, or a disaster that shook them to the core. PTSD brings its own set of signs, such as intrusive memories, the nightmares, the anxiety that just won't let go. It can even mess with your sleep, making you restless or jumpy. Individuals may also experience avoidance of reminders of the event, negative changes in the thinking and mood, and increased arousal and reactivity. However, there are three main types of symptoms associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. These symptoms can manifest and affect individuals differently based on their unique experiences and psychological makeup. The three types of symptoms are re-experiencing symptoms. Now, these symptoms involve the reliving or re-experiencing of the traumatic event or events. They can include flashbacks, nightmares, intrusive thoughts. Number 2 is avoidance and numbing symptoms. These symptoms involve avoiding reminders and memories of the traumatic event, leading to emotional numbing. They may include avoidance of triggers, steering clear of people, places, activities, or situations that remind the person of the trauma. Emotional numbing. Feeling detached, having difficulty experiencing positive emotions, or feeling emotionally numb. Also, there's amnesia, having memory gaps about certain aspects of the traumatic event. Now, third is hyperarousal symptoms. Hyperarousal symptoms are often associated with being on edge or in a constant state of alertness. They may include irritability and anger, difficulty concentrating, hypervigilance, and sleep disturbances. But not everyone with PTSD will experience all these symptoms, and the severity can vary from person to person. Additionally, some individuals might experience delayed onset of symptoms where symptoms may not appear until months or even years after the traumatic event. While PTSD typically arises from a singular traumatic event, but what if an individual dealt with prolonged and repeated exposure to traumatic situation, especially those involving an imbalance of power or severe emotional, physical, or sexual abuse? And that's where complex PTSD comes around. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a psychological condition that results from exposure to prolonged and repeated traumatic events, especially in cases where the individual has little or no control and limited means of escape. It typically occurs within relationships where there is an imbalance of power or exploitation, such as in situations of long-term emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, or in other prolonged traumatic events like captivity or human trafficking. CPTSD shares similarities with PTSD, but has additional symptoms and affects a person's overall personality and identity. It often includes symptoms of traditional PTSD such as flashbacks, nightmares, hypervigilance, and avoidance, but it extends beyond these to encompass a broader range of difficulties. The key features of complex PTSD include: number 1, emotional dysregulation. Difficulty in managing and regulating emotions. This can manifest as intense emotional reactions, mood swings, difficulty calming down, or feeling overwhelmed by emotions. Number 2 is challenges in interpersonal relationships. Struggles in forming and maintaining healthy relationships, trust issues, difficulties with attachment, and a tendency to avoid or seek out relationships are usually very common. Third is negative self-concept, a distorted and negative self-view, often influenced by perpetrators' actions or words. Individuals may experience feelings of worthlessness, shame, guilt, or a sense of being fundamentally damaged or broken. Number 4 is distorted perceptions of the perpetrator. Persistent negative beliefs about the perpetrator, which may involve an inability to forgive, persistent preoccupation with revenge, or unrealistic feelings of a shared relationship. Number 5, loss of meaning and hope. A profound loss of faith or hope, feelings of despair, and a sense of foreshortened future, where one might not anticipate a fulfilling life. Number 6 is difficulty with emotional and behavioral regulation. Engaging in self-destructive behaviors, substance abuse, or risky activities as a way to cope with the emotional pain or to regain a sense of control. CPTSD usually acknowledges that repeated and prolonged exposure to trauma can deeply affect an individual's psyche, self-perception, and overall ability to function in everyday life. Treatment often involves a combination of therapies such as trauma-focused therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectal behavior therapy, and eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, aimed at addressing the core symptoms and helping the individual regain control over their life and emotions. PTSD can significantly impact an individual's daily life, affecting relationships, work, and overall well-being. The emotional toll can be immense, leading to isolation and difficulty in trusting others. Now let's break this down using some examples we have seen on big and small screens. Number 1. American Sniper. This movie, directed by Clint Eastwood, portrays the story of Chris Kyle, a Navy SEAL sniper. Chris, played by Bradley Cooper, struggles with severe PTSD after multiple tours of duty in Iraq. The film poignantly shows the toll that war and trauma can take on a person's mental health, even after returning home. Number 2. Jessica Jones. Marvel's Jessica Jones depicts the life of a former superhero dealing with PTSD caused by her traumatic events, including abuse and mind control. The show skillfully portrays how trauma can affect one's perception of self, relationships, and the world around them. Number 3. Homeland. The character Nicholas Brody, portrayed by Damian Lewis in Homeland, cripples with severe PTSD as a result of held captive during the war. The series showcases the complexity of PTSD, its impact on family dynamics, and the challenges in seeking and receiving appropriate mental health care. Now, let's discuss ways to manage and support individuals dealing with PTSD. Number 1. Seeking professional help. Chris Kyle's character in American Sniper demonstrates the importance of seeking professional help. If you or someone you know is experiencing symptoms of PTSD, seeking help from a mental health professional like a therapist or counselor is crucial. They can provide appropriate therapy and coping strategies tailored to the individual's needs. Number 2. Encourage open communication. In Jessica Jones, Jessica's journey emphasizes the need for a supportive environment. Friends or family can play a critical role in helping individuals with PTSD navigate their healing journey. Creating a safe space for individuals to talk about their experiences and feelings is vital. Encourage them to share their thoughts without judgment, and let them know that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Number 3. Educate and raise awareness. Homeland portrays how societal stigmas and misconceptions can hinder those struggling with PTSD. Educating ourselves and others about PTSD helps reduce the stigma associated with mental health disorders. Awareness can encourage empathy, understanding, and ultimately contribute to a more supportive society. Number 4. Promote self-care. Individuals with PTSD should practice self-care techniques such as regular exercise, proper nutrition, mindfulness, and relaxation exercises. These activities can help manage stress and anxiety. Number 5. Support groups. Connecting with others who have experienced similar traumas through support groups can provide a sense of belonging and understanding. Sharing experiences and coping strategies can be incredibly beneficial. Remember, anyone dealing with PTSD deserves empathy, understanding, and support in their journey toward healing. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Self Talk Show. If you found this episode helpful, then I would request you all to please share, like, and subscribe to Self Talk Show. Because your every like, comment, and subscription matters, as this will help my podcast reach to those individuals who seek support, a word of encouragement and advice. You see, no individual is the same. Not everyone is comfortable sharing their journey or what they are currently facing. Every individual's story is different. Their upbringing is different. Their situations are different. So even if my podcast makes a 0.1% difference in the lives of my listeners or people who just found my podcast, then I would consider this a victory. That means that I am somewhat or even a little successful in fulfilling my mission of helping people who need help but are hesitant to ask for it. I would encourage all of you that if you know someone within your group of friends, family, relatives, colleagues, or even acquaintances who you feel may need support, then please reach out to them. But only if they want to be reached out to. If they are hesitant or do not want to be approached, then please give them space and time to come out and reach out to you. After all, this is what humanity is. We are here to live together as a strong community, while at the same time sharing our Mother Earth with other living beings and kingdoms. On that note, I would like to thank you for listening to me till the end. If you have any suggestions or requests for me, then please send an email to showselftalk@gmail.com. Even if you would like to book a counseling session with me, you can reach out to me at the mentioned email address or on social media accounts with the handle name Self Talk Show. Please remember that by engaging in open conversations, educating ourselves, and offering a compassionate hand to those in need, we can collectively contribute to a society that nurtures mental well-being and understands that healing from trauma is a journey worth supporting. Thank you.